For centuries, the Harkers have fought vampires. But these Harkers...
And Big Finish.
don't have a clue.
People love vampire stuff. People love male models that sparkle and pout. No one's scared of vampires anymore.
How do you convince people that vampires are real?
We dumped a dead body with a mutilated neck, drained of blood in a lake.
Any such talk of vampires, that's just plain silly.
If there were vampires, those Harkers would have said something about it, right?
We're gonna catch the vampire, and you can all see for yourselves, okay? Right here, at House Harker.
Ah, great, another vampire. Nobody said there was gonna be two vampires.
Ah, Why are they pounding?
Every family has a skeleton in their closet. This one just woke up.
Come get some, you satanic sons of bitches!
I know I wasn't there for you guys.
Family! We have to be honest with each other!
And Big Finish.
That is f***ing scary.
I had a bloody good time at House Harker.
This is Slashers. Can't bother you this week to do some kind of fancy fun intro. We have music to get to. We have guests to get to. We are talking about I had a bloody good time at House Harker. Ryan,
right. Absolutely.
How butt fucking excited are you about this?
It's very, very cool. Actually, I had no idea what this film was about or even heard of until you brought it up. And I'm happy I saw it because, fuck, it's pretty awesome. I mean, I feel like it's something that competes with a lot of shit you see on Netflix.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what I'm excited about? You're not the only schlub I have to talk to this week. I have a special guest, and I guess you can kind of have visitation rights of my special guest as well. Clayton Cogswell, director, writer, producer, cameo star of the film. Say hello, sir.
Woohoo! Hi, everybody. How's it going? Hey, thank you so much for having me.
So first question.
Yeah.
What is your real name? Because Clayton Cogswell is not a real name. That is a cobbler in a steampunk fan fiction if I've ever heard
That's
one.
exactly right. I was either named after the bad guy in Tarzan or... no, actually, I've got a funny story about that. It's funny you mentioned that. My whole life, I got the whole Jetsons Cogswell Cogs thing. You know, like the whole...
Right.
like
Poor guy.
Everybody's always like, oh, like Cogswell, it's like the Jetsons. I'm like, yeah, that's funny. Until I was 23 years old. I thought it was a complete happenstance that I was named after the same thing. Took my grandfather out to lunch, and the maitre d' behind the podium says, "Oh yes, the Cogswell. That's so cute, just like the Jetsons." And she went away, and I looked at my grandfather and I said, "I get that a lot. Do you get that a lot?" And he goes, "Yeah, I guess I should never have agreed to that." I was like, "Yeah, wait, what?" And he was working in the motion picture sound recording industry in the 60s. Hanna-Barbera were recording their pilot for the Jetsons at his place. They passed by his door every single day. And one day they knocked on the door and he opened it up and said, "Hey, Ron, do you mind if we use your name?" And he's like, yeah. That's fine, go ahead." So my whole life, I thought it was a random happenstance kind of a thing. And
That's amazing.
It's actually named after my grandfather.
That's a way better word association than I got. When I was in high school, people just called me fat fuck. It's
Oh, no.
Sorry. Not to make it all about me, guys.
I was gonna say, I mean, you don't look so fat now, you fuck.
Yeah, thank you. So when are you gonna start knocking on Hanna-Barbera's door to ask for the royalty check?
Oh my God, dude, that's not a bad idea. But alas, unfortunately, both those guys are long gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So my whole life is one giant cartoon, but it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it can be a giant cartoon once again if you take just a little bit of LSD from my remedial understanding of narcotics.
This is very true.
Everything
everything starts to melt.
Coming Coming from the straight edge over here. He's like, from what I read from Wikipedia, this is what LSD does to you, right?
Let me check my Palm Pilot from my pocket protector. So
that's awesome.
We were talking about this before. You started the, I guess, channel Good Cops TV.
Yes.
Picked up by Machinima.
Yeah.
And then how do you go from the Good Cops rap to a horror movie comedy with vampires?
That is a very fantastic question. My buddies, some of them from high school, some of them from college. One guy I met at a bachelor party. It was nuts. We all got together because we had this love of old, like 1980s cop shows, right? And we wanted to basically make a ridiculous parody on like Lethal Weapon and Die Hard and all that kind of stuff, but make it where it's a little over the top and just stupid. So we made like one or two of these little things on a weekend as like a little acting exercise for my buddies and a directing exercise for me, just like something to kind of get it going. After 2 episodes, Machinima called and they were like, hey, this is kind of funny. We're like, Machinima? Who is this? And they basically partnered up with us, which meant that we needed to actually get a structure for like the whole series and all that stuff. Was crazy. So we ended up making a full season of that. Then we made a full season of Good Cops season 2. And that was actually funded by Machinima, which is wonderful. And then we made a Western called Tumbleweed,
which I watched a little bit.
So we just had this run. Oh, good. Oh, great. Yeah. It was just this crazy. So we had this nice little run of like kind of higher production value web series kind of stuff. And it was a lot of fun. It was really great. It was actually paying the bills a little bit.
That's cool.
You know, like just, you know, which is neat. It wasn't like big bills, but it was like, you know, little small bills here and there.
Just to see a little bit of return is great.
Oh, 100%. It was great. But we had actually garnered enough fans and viewers that we started just kind of putting out there, hey, like, what would you guys think about a feature if we were to do that? And there's all these different people were just, you know, tweeting in and all this other stuff. Yes, absolutely. We basically parlayed that into doing the good old fashioned, you know, Sam Raimi, Rob Tapper, Bruce Campbell, like going to everybody they knew and going, guys, we got a feature film and it's here's the script and it'll only cost you $50 kajillion. And they go, no, but we were able to say, but look at all this audience that we have that are guaranteed to watch this movie because they're fans of ours. And that kind of made the pill a little bit easier to swallow for the investors and stuff.
And it's so great you did that instead of going the Toby Hooper route and be like, oh, here, own a portion of my movie, make more money off of my famous movie than I got to make with Texas Chainsaw. I don't know if you know the whole history, but that,
oh my gosh,
that poor fucking guy, like, just wanted to get his art made.
Yeah, no, exactly. One of my favorite movies of all time, by the way, is Texas Chainsaw. Like it, I don't know. I've only seen it. I can only see it like once a year though, because it's like one of those pills that you take and you're like,
it's really,
God,
it's really rough.
It's rough, man. It's a hard watch into hell.
And it's so savory if you do space it out. If you watch it over and over again, it feels schlocky like the sequels. But if you watch it once, because Brian knows this. Before I got with my wife, every Valentine's Day of my adult life, I would watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre alone.
Are you serious?
I'm a weird guy, but that was my once a year.
No, that's awesome.
Pretty dark.
I love that.
It should have been more on brand, like My Bloody Valentine or whatever. But you know,
there's something beautiful about that. You know, where it's like this is kind of like you're raising your middle finger to love. You know, but honestly, no. I mean that freaking movie, and I don't know. This is tangential into Texas Chainsaw, but like that idea, I love perspective of time.
Yeah.
When a movie was made, you know, and there was nothing made like that movie.
Oh yeah.
Ever. Not at that level, you know. Yep. And I tried to show Heather, as my wife, a scene or two, and she doesn't like horror films at all. And so she's like, I can't. I'm like, no, but what they're doing here is special.
Right.
It's amazing, and it was never done. I mean, it was breaking all the rules and all that stuff.
Yeah, I remember the first time I watched that, I was you know, kind of into it a little bit. I was like, wow, this is pretty rough. And then they get to like the whole family scene where they're eating at the table. And I'm like, I don't know, man.
God.
They start holding the hammer over her head. I'm like, this is really crazy.
And the old guy just barely like touching her with it. You're like, oh,
They
God, no.
put like his mouth on the blood.
When he sucks her finger is the grossest thing in the world.
Dude, it's so gross.
It's so disturbing, but what a piece of art, though, man. I mean, it's a piece of modern art.
Well, and here's something I
movie.
love without jerking you off too hard is that movie is disturbing without being visually overt, right? The goriest part is when Leatherface accidentally cuts himself. And then here, I think you can look at movies like this and then look at your film, which is a comedy, where there's torrents of blood that would make senators in the 60s just weep and vomit and die. And it's hilarious and it works and it's fun. Like,
oh, thanks.
As far as perspective goes, though, like, can you imagine your own film, in I Love Lucy times, and imagine the revelry?
It would be rated X.
Oh my God.
I mean, they would.
Oh, by far. Yeah, I mean the original cut of De Niro, Scorsese, Taxi Driver was rated X because the ending scene of the shootout, and there was that, and the way they got around it was color correction.
Yep.
They're like, well, there's too much blood. They're like, well, what if we discolored the blood so it's more orange? And they're like, well, okay. So that's what saved it from an X.
This is fun because this totally segues into one of my questions I wanted to ask you was how many gallons of blood were used in the production of this film? Just a ballpark, right?
There was.
You knew we had to ask. We talked about Lord of the Rings before we got on the air. We talked about Evil Dead. So Peter Jackson, his great trick in order to get the blood in with the orcs was to make it black, which is a Barry Windsor Smith trick that he used to do with the old Conan comics. I'm just giving you time to think about the stats. I'm padding for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Wait, is that true though? Is that what they used to do for the Conan comics?
Was Barry Windsor Smith would write, drew it. It's all black. It's beautiful art. I'm obsessed with it. So if you ever need some good images, just message me. And I have a whole playlist on Spotify of Conan the Barbarian audiobooks. I'm kind of a nerd. Don't know if you do.
No, that's, by the way, that whole, oh my gosh, like I think we should probably get a beer together sometime, because like I don't know, like I'm literally that whole genre, even the what's it called, the weird fiction of back in the day, Conan the Barbarian, H.P. Lovecraft stuff, all that stuff, all written around the same time, 20s, 30s, all that.
Pulp,
it's my jam.
Oh yeah,
the
dude.
pulps. Yeah. It's just my jam. So in answer to your question, our special effects supervisor, I think he literally had beer kegs. That's how he did it.
Oh yeah.
Shit.
Was he had these
awesome.
giant beer kegs full of fake blood. And I want to say over 200 gallons, 300 gallons, something crazy like that. But it was the way that we did it was an old theater trick, because I don't know if you know this, but fake blood stains horribly.
Oh, yeah.
Like it never comes out of anything. So I learned this trick in theater. It wasn't just me. It was also my John Engie, all those other guys that worked on it. You take liquid Tide.
What?
And you take a certain type of food coloring. Right. So it's a soap based blood.
That's so cool.
It just rockets over everything, but all you have to do is just hose it off.
Suck it, sissy Spacek, with your corn syrup.
Exactly. Well, the funny thing is, though, the one thing you cannot do is to take pump hand soap that's alcohol based. Because that will actually stain it and solidify it into your skin.
Oh, great.
Right? You have to have a bar of soap and basically just do this. Can't remember if it was Derek who plays Ned in the film. I can't remember who it was. It was Noel. One time, like, squeezed some soap onto his hands and went, oh no, and it was in.
Oh no,
like it could not come out.
That's awesome.
It was kind of ridiculous, but no, there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gallons of blood, and it was fun. We had these. Someday I'm gonna release this little special feature. We had this special rig that would go up at the actor's pant leg, and we would cut a little tiny hole up in the chest area, and John would just, pump up the beer keg as fast and hard as he can, and they go, okay, ready, 3, 2, 1, and they just hit it, and just and we're not even talking a boom. It was a just going, and I remember in pre-production going, I just love this movie so much.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We were so excited to shoot with that stuff.
I've seen the trick of using an old fire extinguisher, but never an entire beer keg. That's pretty amazing.
Oh, it was cool. It was pretty neat. And we had a whole bunch of different stuff, especially for there was that sequence where the barf, we had a whole bunch of green barf and stuff like that.
The old Exorcist.
And we tried everything. The old Exorcist gag. Exactly.
So good.
We tried everything. We tried to get that into the beer kegs, and it was too thick. It was too viscous because we had like cream corn, we had peas, we had all this other stuff.
So did you guys use the old pea soup trick like in the Exorcist, right? No. It was
the old pea soup. We added oatmeal. Oh God.
It was way chunky. I loved that part.
It was just chunky and amazing. But it couldn't come out of the beer kegs. So we tried throwing it through buckets, and that our aim was way off. The simplest answer was the answer, which was to take a 2-liter bottle, an empty 2-liter bottle, just suck it all up, aim it, and just squeeze.
That's awesome.
And it just rocketed across the frame and then hit wherever we shot.
I want that fucking job.
Yeah, just imagine like this, the special effects engineers just like going over in their brains like, okay, what the hell can we figure out? And somebody's just like squeezing a 2-liter bottle and they're like,
And that's what it came down to. I remember we were shooting that sequence at my house and we were pulling our hair out. I'm like, we're missing every single shot. Like, how do we do this? And it was either John or it was our producer, Adam, was like, what if we just, and we're like, oh my God, that's it. Yes.
That's awesome.
And there it was.
If you do a sequel, I will do that work pro bono.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, if we cameos, absolutely.
Yeah. Cameos, dude. Oh my gosh. Yes. Cameos. 100%.
That'd be cool.
Last little thing on the damn puke was we because it was inside my house, we literally plastered the whole entire room with tarp.
Oh yeah.
Basically. And like everywhere. Right. So I don't know who was in charge of like disposing of the tarp, but they basically wadded the whole thing up with the pea soup still in it. And they took it out to my side yard, and I had this old trash can it's not even a trash can. It's just empty. It's just been there for forever. They stuff it in there. Cut to 4 months later, I stepped to my side of my yard. I'm like, what is that smell? And I opened up the trash can. Oh, God.
No.
It's been sitting there rotting it almost knocked me out. It was that.
There's a colony living in there.
No, seriously. There was like protozoa and all like teeming with life. It was awful. It was terrible.
But kind of amazing in a weird way. I bet we're living in God's trash can on the side yard.
Strange way of
when you think about it, you might be true. That might be right.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So I was going to ask you what was one piece of trivia I could add to the IMDb so that I could look cool. Okay. And you've just given me 5 things to work with. So let's move on. When you're writing the movie,
fantastic.
When you're writing it, are you writing with people in mind, or did you have to actually hold open casting calls and everything?
A little bit of both. Yeah. So one of my partners, Jacob Givens, was the writer on it, and the beautiful thing about being able to work with these guys at the time we started Good Cops in 2011, we shot it in 2014. So yeah, 3-4 years we were just every single week, just riffing on more comedy and more things and all that stuff. We had this rapport and we would basically finish each other's sandwiches, basically at that point. Right.
I got the Frozen reference because I'm a dad. Brian's like, what the fuck?
Thank you. No, by the way, one of the best movies ever made is Frozen. I'm sorry. I will say that out loud.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Literally the only thing I don't like is Josh Gad, but I just find his In Summer song insufferable. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's a little grating, but the rest of it is pretty outstanding.
It's delightful.
I'm so sorry, Brian.
No,
I'm so
it's
sorry.
cool. I'm blissfully unaware of anything going on, and it's okay.
Okay. Oh no. So we had this rapport. Jake, Noel, Derek, myself. We just had this comedy just kind of going. So obviously we wrote those roles for those dudes. Nathan Lorch, who played the cop, he was in all of our stuff.
Walter, right?
So no, he was also Walter was in some of our stuff, but Nathan Lorch played Wayne.
Sorry, that's a W.
One of the cops that finds the mustache. Body.
Exactly, the mustache.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. No, Wayne who had the mustache who was engaged to Paige.
Got it.
So we were basically Jake was writing for these specific people. However, we did not have a Paige, and we did not have half the other vampires and people that were out there. Noel, who played Charlie, he's also our wonderful producer, was acting in a machinima short co-starring Whitney Moore, who I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Birdemic.
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. I'll be completely honest.
Oh, boys. Oh,
writing it down.
How do you spell that?
Bird-emic, as in like it's a pandemic, but it's a bird-demic. And it is, I'm not kidding, my friends. It is one of, if not the worst movie ever made. and I love me some Ed Wood. I love me some Plan 9 from Outer Space. I love me some all that stuff. However, Birdemic is so bad. And the wonderful and amazing Whitney Moore was the lead actress in it. And when Noel said, yeah, I worked with Whitney Moore, I'm like, Whitney Moore? Yes. From Birdemic Whitney Moore? And I totally fangirled out. I was like, oh my God, Whitney. So we took a little convincing, but we got Whitney to come on board. And so we're like, great. And she's like,
I've only been in one bad movie. I can't do it again.
You promised me this is a good movie, Clayton Cogswell. I'm like, yes, I promise, Whitney. I swear I wouldn't steer you wrong. But so we had to write it for kind of around her and her style and all that. And she just freaking killed it. One of the happiest things ever was finding the other cast members out in Wisconsin. So we shot the film in this little tiny town called Washburn, Wisconsin, which is where Derek, who plays Ned in the movie, that's where his whole family's from. Like oh man, he's going to kill me if I don't say this story right. But like, it was like one of his grandfathers or great-grand was like I don't know if he was like the sheriff of the town or like the mayor or whatever. Anyway, this tiny little place, and the Hoggins are all over the place. And everybody knows everybody else. And we went up there because we can basically have the whole run of the town. Everybody up there, they were the nicest human beings on the face of the planet. Like they gave us, like we were shooting super late one night. They would bring us over like lasagnas.
Oh,
and like
see, that's
cookies.
awesome.
I knew it had to involve cheese.
My gosh. It was, by the way, you've never had cheese until you had Wisconsin cheese, man. Oh my gosh. It's amazing. But they were the greatest people, but they were also super crazy talented, which was, I did not expect.
Awesome.
So we held open auditions Derek and I did up in Wisconsin. And we were at this little local live theater venue, and all these amazing people kind of came out. And I was expecting like a Waiting for Guffman kind of like, oh my gosh, this is so bad, like horrible auditions. These people freaking killed it. And like, so we were like, okay, I'll take you. And they just basically came out almost every single night, super late, and were amazing. And they took those roles and just ran with them. So it was very inspiring to watch. So
loved it. I really love The Neighbor. I love the fact that you show him like almost the Toby Flenderson, like I'm going to church, I'm a good man, I'm a priest, and then like the devolution into just having the shittiest life with this woman just croaking at him. I loved it. And they just start holding hands and walking. That was probably like some of the most brilliant silliness I've ever seen. I love it.
By the way, thank you for saying that. But by the way, do you know who played Mavis, who was the little old lady who was just the evil demon?
I don't, but I would love to know.
That was Derek's mom.
What?
That was Derek Hoggins' mom. She's never acted in her entire life.
Get out. She did a killer job.
She did a killer job, right? Derek made her audition for us. Right? I'm like, Derek, it's your mom. So we were over at their house up in Wisconsin, and Derek's sisters were there, and we all had a little bit of wine to drink or whatever. And so one of the sisters went like, Mom, do the thing. Like, do the thing? What are you talking about? So, okay, I'm an audition. Hold on. She turns around and she turns back to me, and she's missing her front tooth. It was a bridge. I'm like, oh my God. And she just started auditioning toothless.
Love it.
And as this nasty old woman, and oh my gosh, I mean, and she's the nicest. I mean, I consider her one of my mothers, and she just killed it. So we're like, okay, well, you got the part. So that was Derek's mom, and her husband, who was Walter, was also one of our friends from back here in LA. Like, he's an actor that's been in 1,000 things. Arlen, God, he's an amazing guy. So, but yeah, Derek's mom, man. And after I'm sorry, this is tangential.
Do it.
After she finished acting her scenes, she would go back to her house and then cook the whole crew dinner.
Dude,
that's awesome.
She pays for herself like 10 times over. That's awesome.
Dude, she was the hardest worker on the entire set. Honestly, like she would kill it on set. Like, okay, boys, I gotta go back and I gotta go cook dinner. And so she would go and make us dinner.
Fucking ribs.
That's what's so great about some of these small towns, right? Where they just like show out in droves and show up in droves and kind of make a big thing out of it. When you're like, I have no idea what's gonna happen or what to expect, and they just welcome you with open arms, and you're like, wow, it's amazing.
It's very much like the horror community, because I gotta say, like, I have been a member of a lot of elitist little groups like comic collecting and the hardcore music scene and stuff like that. And by and large, horror people are like,
they're
oh
pretty
shit,
accepting.
You're cool, we're cool. Like, there's not a whole lot of like, let's measure our dicks. And so, like, I gotta ask, like, when you present, hey, I'm making this horror comedy to people, was there anybody in your regular life who surprised you by their eagerness? Because I talk about our podcast pretty sparingly in real life, and the amount of like outpouring of like support I've gotten from people blows me away. And I can only imagine something on your scale.
Oh no, it was absolutely like the greatest thing is little by little meeting horror fans like we are, and because it's in my little group of friends, we didn't normally run in those circles of like, hardcore horror fans and stuff like that. I have a few friends that are just like nuts for horror, but it wasn't really our scene. But I mean, I freaking love horror. I mean, you guys know.
Yeah, he has credentials, everybody.
One of the greatest things was going to some of the festivals, going to like even starting the picture and just pitching it and showing what exactly it is, and that we're going to be making a horror comedy. All these friends started coming out of nowhere like, oh my God, I love horror. Wait, what are you going to do? Is it going to be like more like Shaun of the Dead, or is it going to be more like on the road, all that stuff. And it was very encouraging. And what's the most encouraging thing is what's happening right now. Like Derek, who's kind of running our little kind of grassroots marketing, is finding all these wonderful little niche places and all that other stuff that like is the community.
Yep.
And it's been so freaking welcoming and so exciting to be a part of, because it's I don't know, like I think it's so many so many people in the horror community, they all are kind of at their heart filmmakers, and they understand like what it takes to actually throw blood across the screen, and they want to get their little fingers in, as do all of us, and just to get messy with all the green goo and all that stuff. So it's been just amazing. Yeah. It's wonderful.
I got to give a big thank you to Derek, because he's the one who set up this interview. And so he followed our show. And one thing that I do a lot is I message, anything that looks like it might be shenanigans, just to see, like, is there a human being? I sent a message like, hey, what's up? We can collaborate. Boom. When? Boom. Here's Clayton's information. Yeah. Boom. What do I need? And I was like, fuck, that's so refreshing. Like, I'm not going to throw anybody specifically under the bus, but there are some fucking terrible movies that I wanted to support, and I will never see. Cough, powerbomb, cough.
No, but you talk about a horror fan, Derek is on Shudder. I think it plays in his house 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There you go. Like the guy, the schlockier, the better for him. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, in all fronts, not just horror, but I mean, like, I think he introduced me to Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Oh God.
And movies like that. It's like, what is this, man? Yeah. Like he's the ultimate cinephile. So like I thought I was, and I don't hold a candle to that man. Like he's got a brain that I don't understand how it works.
For sure.
But
it goes. Okay.
Yeah. I was going to say, so I know you had said that, some of the people that you knew were coming up to you and saying like, well, what kind of film is it? Is it something like Shaun of the Dead? One of the questions I wanted to ask you was, from watching it, it seemed like I did get hints of Shaun of the Dead. I did get hints of like Tucker and Dale, or I even kind of got something like Trailer Park Boys. Essentially, it seems like it's a little bit of Bubbles in there, what I mean? So is there any other kind of references in there that are kind of hidden that came to mind?
Well, for me, there's the Holy Trinity. Okay, there's Sam Raimi.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's Edgar Wright.
Oh.
And there's Stephen Chow.
Oh.
Now, Stephen Chow does like Kung Fu Hustle and Shaolin Soccer and stuff like that. So like he doesn't do a lot of horror, Well, there's also John Carpenter. John Carpenter. Well, specifically,
like body bags.
Specifically, well, Derek kind of based his character a little bit on Jack Burton from.
I could totally see that.
Little China.
He needed to have a little bit of like a southern drawl, I think, and then
yeah, exactly. But it was like, oh God, what is that? Like, oh, come on, pal. And it's like, dude, you're doing Jack Burton really well, man. But no, it was God. I don't know. My heart belongs to Sam Raimi. I mean, ever since Jake, who played Jerry in the film, introduced me to Sam. Not personally. Oh God. I mean, I might die if I actually meet Sam,
heavy breathing.
No, I'm dying. But no, I think he first introduced me to Evil Dead 2 in college when we were like sophomores or something like that. And I remember watching it going, you can do that?
Yeah.
Like it's like a Muppet movie, but it's a horror film and it's legitimately scary at parts. But it's just super I mean, it was outstanding. So like, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of, we referenced a lot of, I don't know. One thing that I learned from Sam that is so beautiful because it's so cheap is whenever you cannot afford a bad guy, whenever you can't afford a monster, the camera is the monster.
Which you totally do.
That's what we were talking about actually off film.
We talked about the point of view. Yeah.
The point of view I thought was really cool in this film, and it's so much different than compared to a lot of other vampire flicks when it comes to, it seems like it's like a silent stalker. Whereas in this, you actually get the heavy breathing, almost like guttural growls.
Mm-hmm. Right. It was almost, we wanted to kind of make it feel like it's from the point of view of an animal, because at the end of the day, the original notion of what a vampire is, it's no longer human. If it was ever human, It could have been a strigoi, which was, basically the damned soul of something that was encapsulated within a beast of some sort or whatever. So we wanted to make it less sparkly and less human and make it much more of a beast, and we could, we didn't have much money, but we could only afford, how many makeup things, prosthetics did we have? I think we only had like 4 or 5 faces for Nathan, who played the vampire.
Okay.
So, because that was it. Like and then we were tapped out. And every single time we took it off, it's like, okay, well, we can get 3 more uses out of this face. And then it's just going to fall apart. So like, oh, God, okay. So then we had to put on, so we had to get creative on how we shot this thing with so many scenes without really showing them until like those moments that it really counted. And the other thing was Nathan is an average height guy. The vampire, we wanted to have him be over 7 feet. I think he was like 7'6" or something like that. So, and we couldn't afford good like movie stunt stilts. So we went to Home Depot and we bought, I remember I worked on in my normal life, I sometimes shoot documentaries and like reality shows and stuff back in the day.
For sure.
I was shooting a home building show. And I remember seeing
the painter stilts.
The painter
Love
stilts.
it.
I remember watching these guys. I'm like, oh my God. And like these things, they added 4 feet to these dudes. I'm like, that's insane. So we were like, I know what to do. So we went to Home Depot and bought painter stilts and put Nathan in those and just ran with it. So
it works.
Yeah, man.
And dude. Nobody would know. That cloak hides it perfectly. So you've mentioned John Carpenter. You've mentioned Sam Raimi. And this kind of goes to Brian's point. Was the breathing a conscious choice? Because as soon as I hear the breathing and I see the perspective, I felt like you have the breathing of Michael Myers, the stupid clown mask. You have the perspective of the demon from Evil Dead. Was that kind of a choice, or was that just kind of born out of?
Absolutely. Yeah. It was a little bit of both. It was, knowing that it's an animal, right? And we did the same gag. We did the very same gag in Tumbleweed. The second episode of Tumbleweed. Tumbleweed, if you don't know, is based on the game Red Dead Redemption. And I remember I was binge playing that game one night. And I got really far in the game. I was really excited, but I'm out in the middle of the desert and I was suddenly randomly killed from behind by a freaking bobcat.
Got him.
I'm like, what? So we put that into Tumbleweed, where I shot the same kind of a thing, the camera going low, but it was really effective to put sounds of a bobcat underneath that. I'm like, oh. So when we shot House Harker, I'm like, yeah, but we really have to like get this this big, crazy, nasty, thing underneath it. So it's just, you feel the bass boom behind it. And no, this isn't some Bela Lugosi or not some Edward,
right.
whatever his name is.
Not a prim proper,
basically gliding. No, he's not a prim and proper thing. This is going to tear your face off.
It's not the new Batman, is what you're saying.
Robert Pattinson. I'm okay with it.
Correct.
As a guy with over 2,000 comics, here's the thing. He wasn't in Geely, so I don't give a fuck.
That's true.
There's my hot take.
I mean, he definitely has his merits over
man.
Ben Affleck. So
that's my man.
So let me ask you a question. On your resume now, do you say that Jeff Bezos is your boss?
Technically, what?
I know legally he's not, but it's just so how.
No, he's not technically. Actually, he was my boss.
What?
For one, I shot a documentary for Amazon.
Oh, that's cool.
Red.
So technically, he is.
Or was.
But not for House Harker.
I love it, man.
Yeah, or was. It was only like a one-time gig. But
so how'd you end up with Amazon? That's such a crazy cool partnership because I scroll through Amazon every time. I'm like, I'll put in like Godzilla film Prime. And nothing is on Prime. And then I just go through all the movies I'm not willing to pay. And then to see something that was like really fun off of Amazon Prime, probably the first time since Jack Ryan that's happened to me.
Yeah.
No, it was actually kind of cool. We had met. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I have so many damn anecdotes. I apologize. This is going to be like the longest podcast ever. We met this guy named Morris Ruskin, who is the proud owner, the founder of the company called Shoreline Entertainment. And if you see in the movie, the very beginning title card kind of thing is Shoreline Entertainment.
With the beach ball.
So with the beach ball. Exactly. So they were one of the production companies. They were the sales agent and stuff like that. And they basically got out there and hit the pavement and found us the Amazon Prime thing, which was wonderful.
Fucking awesome.
The funny anecdote is Morris Ruskin plays Dad Harker in the movie.
How cool is that?
Huh.
Those flashbacks. So it started as a joke. In the film, there's a portrait of the dad that just passed away, the mom who's played by Jake.
I love that, by the way. I love that.
Right. And the three kids, which is basically, it's little young Charlie is Noel's actual son. Young Paige is my daughter, Imogen. And young Jerry is Jake's son, Ewan.
How cool is that?
And so we were like, okay, well, we got to make this prop. This is this funny gag. So, all right, Noel, we're going to your house. Who can we get to play Dad Harker just for this one shot? Oh, you know what? Let's call Morris. He would love it. So we basically set up this portrait. We take the photo, we blow it up, and there's the prop. We're shooting the movie. Suddenly we have this idea of adding these flashbacks to kind of understand these characters more and more.
Which I love, by the way. I would never have guessed that was a supplemental thing. I thought that was integral in like the writing process because
it wasn't in the very beginning, but as we're going, we're like, oh my gosh, you know what we got to do. And it just kind of fell into place there. But which meant that we had to call Morris and be like, so have you ever acted before?
Awesome.
And he'd never acted before. And I think he freaking killed it. It was great. Like we brought him out for like a day or two and had him shoot and there it was. So that's Morris. And that dude, he produced Glenn Ross. Like this is a guy who's nice. Who's seen some stuff.
That's
man.
Awesome.
Yeah. So he's a really good dude. We love him so much.
You said that your daughter played as the young Paige, right? In the film.
Yeah. The young Paige.
If I remember correctly, she does like a sweet ass roundhouse kick in the film. Like, we actually had 3 Pages in the movie. Oh, okay.
The little baby one at the time was my daughter.
Okay, got it.
The younger, sweet, awesome roundhouse kick Paige was, so I work a lot, and one of my best buddies, his name's Kevin. He's my executive producer on a whole bunch of TV stuff that we do. His daughter is this incredible actress, singer, whatever. And I was like, she kind of looks like Whitney. Do you mind if she comes out for like a day and does a roundhouse kick? And yeah, it's fine. And again, she did amazing.
She killed it.
She did a killer job because the plot as it develops between those two characters, when she talks about very candidly, like, why am I defending my older brothers? Or like, can you imagine what it's like? Like that's such an interesting and poignant idea that's, I've never seen explored on film.
Yeah, no, thank you. That was, I just love Michaela's performance. She did such a good job. And the other thing is her big brother in real life, Dylan Williams, played young Quincy in the very beginning of the movie, the young kid who actually kills the vampire. So literally this entire movie is one giant family, friends, like, oh my gosh, who do we know? For the love of Pete, we could only grab who we know.
That's really cool though, because I mean, it's essentially like the grassroots thing where everything's kind of built up from the family, from the friends. Everybody just contributes, and it works.
And we've talked about that before.
That's
like
exactly right.
Low budget horror has two ways of doing it. Either you hire all of your friends,
or you're in the woods,
or you do trauma and you just have people pay to be in your movie and suck at it.
That's not a bad idea. Should have done that.
We reviewed
people pay to be in the movie.
When we did a series called Toxic Avengers Pod Game, where us and a few other podcasts got together and reviewed the series, and they get progressively worse. And you could just see Lloyd Kaufman being like, "Okay, I'm making up for my lack of ticket sales with you and you and you."
Just imagine if you have like enough, you have enough rabid followers where you start like Patreon, and you're like, for $150. You can be in the movie.
You get to be in the movie. Oh, man. By the way, Lloyd Kaufman, again, one of my heroes. The fact that dude did all that and then went to Washington to actually be an advocate for the arts and all. I mean, yeah, it's just amazing. That man.
Absolutely crazy.
Genius.
But you got to love it. So that gets to another point. With digital media and streaming being as it is and everything, I'll be completely candid with you. If Derek hadn't followed me on Instagram, I'd probably not watching your movie. No offense to you.
Sure.
There's just so fucking much. And
there's so much.
How stressful is that to you? Because it's far worse than the idea. Like, I imagine in the old days, it was like a mama bird watching her little bird try and fly. And for you, you're putting it out there and it's just a crowded mess of birds and pterodactyls flying around. And you're like, how the fuck does this little bird do it?
Yeah, not only there's no way that bird is dead. Honestly, and most birds would be today. No, it's terrifying because, I mean, as a guy who has I'm pretty amiable and able to handle myself in a room. But at the end of the day, what not a lot of people know about me is I have quite a bit of social anxiety inside. So getting onto any form of social network, it just kind of gives me oh, wow. And just knowing that I have to get out there and promote, market, network. And it's terrifying.
Yeah, dude.
And the fact that, and I'm so grateful for Derek. Oh my gosh. That fact that he's actually, that he knows how to use those Insta webs things and the Twitters and all that kind of stuff. But no, but it's such a strange place to be in right now because there's a lot of people who get a lot of notoriety and money and fame for doing nothing.
Yeah.
And a lot of that. And I've in the business that I work in, I see a lot of that and a lot of the influence. I hate that word, by the way, influencers.
Oh my God, the worst.
It's the worst word in the world because what are they influencing? But a lot of these folks literally are just it used to be that you would have to be an actor, have some talent, and also be pretty.
Yep.
Now they just have to be pretty and they make more money than I'll ever see.
Yeah, dude, the broken clock is right twice a day. If you put somebody in front of a camera for 42 hours, they can say their line once decently. I definitely agree with you.
Yeah.
Hashtag Kardashians.
It's not. It's the craziest thing. It's I hate it. God, it's just talking way out of school here. But okay, going back to Sam Raimi, when they made Evil Dead, right? Not a lot of people were making crazy low budget films back in the day. It went nowhere in the United States. Nobody wanted to see it. It went to England for I think it was a film festival that Stephen King just happened to be at. And he went in and watched one screening of it and was like, wow, that's great, guys. And he wrote, wow, this movie just blew me away or whatever it was. And that's what blew up the movie and got distribution and all that other stuff and then started it because there was not a lot of,
that's crazy.
Little small, tiny independent films like that. Right?
Can I impress you with my research? Your film won the audience award in España, correct?
It did.
Thank you. You can go back about your business.
It did. No, it was the Nocturna Film Festival. Oh my gosh, guys, speaking of the joy of the horror community, there is nobody like the Spanish horror community. Oh my gosh. Like, we're awesome here in the United States for horror, right? The Spanish, they hold it up to a level that is just heartwarming. Like, they just eat it up. And like the before every single movie at the Nocturna International Film Festival, they had this I don't want to say it's like their patron saint, but it's basically it's not their logo. It's their mascot is Cthulhu.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right. And so every single time Cthulhu would come up, the whole audience would go nuts. Like, Cthulhu! And everybody would be shouting and screaming. And like, we had like standing ovations and freaking all these, press. It was like the most amazing experience I've ever seen. So it was wonderful. It was the greatest experience ever. And plus it was Madrid, which was the most beautiful place ever. So it was great. Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, but it's a crazy world that we're in right now where it's like, everybody can make a film, and nobody will see it. And it's, I don't know, there's a part of me that wants to go back to thinking about William Castle. He was the guy that produced, oh my gosh, all those old, wonderful 1950s movies like The Tingler and things like. He was the guy that John Goodman's character was based on in Matinee.
Gotcha.
And he was this guy who was like this big ballyhoo, like he would have all the audience members sign waivers like, if you die from fright from my movie, you should,
the insurance policy and all that. Yeah.
The insurance policy, he hired nurses to literally be in front of the theater in case somebody has a heart attack and dies in these schlocky, wonderful. He did the original 13 Ghosts back in the 50s or 60s. And like wonderful schlock horror kind of a guy, right? There's a part of my brain that goes, it might take that again, to actually get noticed, and yes, it's all Twitter. Yes, it's all Instagram. Yes, it's all this stuff. But if you can have a bit of ballyhoo in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would definitely get noticed, I think.
You look back at like when they did like Cannibal Holocaust, right? And you had all the actors disappear, not show up, not do any press. That's right. Kind of seems like, you're onto something there where you're like, we need some sort of intrigue, right?
That's right. Well, I remember seeing Blair Witch Project for the first time in 99. The first week it came out, I knew nothing about it. It was in the theater. My brother and I saw it. And we literally stopped at the end of it going, is that real? Like, I had no idea. Right. And for the first month, they didn't say if it was real or not. Until then, the kids would start being on, on Conan O'Brien or on, all the different, talk shows or whatever. But, for the first like 2-3 weeks, it was like, no, this is real. And that caused so much.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of overlap, and it's really funny when I hear people look down their nose as a horror fan at like pro wrestling, but the overlap between the mediums themselves is like scary, comparable. And like the gimmick is everything. Yeah. Like you could be the best in-ring 100%. Performer ever and nobody gives a fuck unless you can talk. Yeah. Or you could just talk and nobody gives a fuck unless you can wrestle.
Perfect example, Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
Right? She's like she's like a phenomenal athlete, but you put her in front of a camera and she's like
she couldn't play her fucking self. Can we talk about that?
No, it's Jesus. No, but I have to admit, I was never a fan of wrestling until I talked to my buddy Tom, and I was like, "Why do you like?" Because this is a rabid wrestling fan, and I was like, "Why?" And he's like, "Dude, it's opera."
Yeah.
What are you talking about? It's like, no, it's theater. It's opera. It's kabuki theater. I mean, we're talking these juggernauts of stories and these iconoclastic characters, good versus evil. And there's sex involved and there's life and death. And I went, oh my God. And I started watching it and it's so brilliant. It's like the greatest. It's some of the greatest American theater that's out there.
Absolutely.
Is pro wrestling.
Well, and I compare. So in watching your movie specifically, your runtime is perfect for me where I'm at in life. Like
it's a perfect. Well, it is. It is the perfect. That is like the perfect amount of time, right? It's an hour and 20.
Yeah, dude. Like an hour 30. Like you could have gone longer. And I'm so grateful that you didn't, because so many writer directors are like afraid to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and they want to make sure that every idea they've ever had they put in this movie gets it on screen. You're like, just cut it. And that's one of the things. Like we live in an age where, like, for instance, I don't watch WWE or whatever. If I do end up like stumbling on any kind of pro wrestling, it's something that's indie. So these guys know you're not giving me any kind of credit. You've never seen me wrestle before. I have to convey everything in a short, succinct way, and that's going to be it. And I can see that in your craft. Like you're saying, I don't have a TV show that this is a spinoff of. You don't have established characters. You don't have huge name actors.
Yeah, we don't have Papa Vince McMahon behind us, right?
So nobody's giving you the benefit of the doubt. So you have to do it in this very specific linear way. Is that something that you were mindful of through the whole process, including the what sounds like kind of arduous post-production schedule?
Oh, by far. I mean, it was. You're absolutely right. We were honestly, it was the minor leagues of baseball that we were hitting for, which I like more than the majors, which is funny because you're watching guys try that much harder and just play as hard as they freaking can to get to the good life. Right now, they're holding second jobs.
Oh yeah, right. They're playing for peanuts. Yeah,
they're playing for peanuts exactly. And I think that is indie filmmaking. That's indie horror filmmaking. It's like, if you don't come out there with your A game, it's like either you make the greatest non-movie ever made or you make the worst non-movie ever made. And either way, you're going to get noticed.
Yep.
If you make it kind of then you're definitely not going to get noticed.
Yeah,
right?
Nothing's setting you apart from any of the other.
Yeah. No, totally. And about runtime, it was like, we cut it and kept it moving as fast as we could. The final script was like 130 pages and normally it's a page a minute. Yep. So it should have been 130 minutes, but it would turn out to be like 86 or something like that. And we actually had concern from Shoreline, from all these other places kind of saying like, you can't cut it any further, else it's a short film,
Yeah.
And it was, and we're like, okay, oh my gosh, okay, yeah, we have to just get all the best things in there. But it was, one thing that I wish I had more of now that I watch it again was, of course, I mean, I wish I did not have any more time because that thing took forever. But I wish I could have had I watched some of the great horrors and I see how many set pieces, great, like Dead Alive. Right.
Absolutely.
Those set pieces. Oh, what? I mean, it's in my top 8
for sure
films of all time is Dead Alive. Even Bad Taste, was just outstanding. Yeah. But but Peter Jackson knew about set pieces and okay, it's like one big set piece here and just nail it. Okay, and then story. Fine. Okay, set piece number 2 and all that stuff. I wish I just had one or two other big, massive, awesome set pieces. But
I could totally see that.
Yeah, that'll be the next one.
I mean,
but the next one.
I can imagine the carrying around the chainsaw with the stakes.
Oh yeah. Oh dude, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
It's a sick ass prop.
That was it was and that was we were trying to figure out that prop. All those stakes, by the way, were these wonderful foam rubber stakes, and they were so lightweight that if Derek picked it up and moved too much, you would just see them go, and it was like, okay, that is so fake. But duct taping those stakes to that chainsaw, the first time we saw it, we're like, oh, this is wonderful. That's just great. So that turned out pretty well.
That's definitely if I was making a video game that starred me, that's definitely the kind of thing that would be my special weapon. You're playing Double Dragon and suddenly you get to the part where you can use your move and you're like, bam.
Yep, and just take out everybody with one fell swoop.
So another question. You gave your life to this film, and you gave your life on this film as Boris. Who directed the scene with that? I gotta know.
Oh my gosh. That's a good question. Who was holding the camera? Well, Max. I think Max Margolin, who is our director of photography, was running through there. It was a combination of Noel, Jake, Derek, all those dudes that know me so well for forever. And I was like, should I angle? Like, dude, just stop thinking and just be Boris. I'm like, fine, yes. But should I shut up and just do? Okay, fine. I'm sorry. There's a reason why I'm not in front of the camera. I used to be an actor back in the day, but then I just got worse and worse and worse as time went on.
You're like, you know what? I'm better behind the camera instead of in front. So.
And I can eat whatever I want.
Yeah, dog. So that kind of goes to another point. The movie, there are a bunch of movies that kind of poke fun at actors because we make fun of our experiences, right? Makes fun of films.
Sure.
One of the most iconic ones that I could think of that's comparable to your film is Murder Party. And it definitely makes fun of the actor trope, right?
Sure.
As a guy who grew up doing theater as well, I can appreciate it, but nothing is worse than looking over to the person beside you, expecting them to laugh, and they just look at you like you're a fucking mongoloid. So my question,
it's awful.
How did you pull yourself back to have a very fair medium where you have twirl, which is a fucking hilarious premise. You have this overacted character, but it's not to a point where the layman can relate.
Sure. No, absolutely. I have to give complete kudos and credit to two people on that. Well, three. Two main people. Jake Givens, who played Jerry and who was the twirl guy, who wrote the damn thing. And John Inge, who was our visual effects and special effects supervisor. But he also got a credit as second unit director because he directed Twirl.
Love it.
That's awesome.
And Derek is the third guy who I had to thank because he produced Twirl, because I was so steeped within post. Tim Sloan, who's our amazing composer, sound, post-production sound guy, in-production sound guy, all that stuff. He and I were basically living together for like 5 months, like every single day, just doing the whole thing. And it was time to shoot Twirl. And I remember just telling Noel, I was like, I can't do it. I don't have it in me. Like, and don't you think it should be somebody else, like a different feel to another kind of, I mean, please, Noel, don't make me do Twirl.
What a sales pitch on this guy. Jeez.
Oh man. And we're like, John needs to, I mean, he's a director. He's a really good director, and like, give it to him. And yes, 100%. So, John freaking killed it. I remember that one of the very first things was they wrote like a 30-page trailer. And it was like this massive, like helicopter shots and huge and like high school, cast of thousands. And now we were like, great. So that's more expensive than the entire movie. So scale it back a bit and all that. But at the end of the day, it was just a perfect little montage to all those beautiful Lifetime movies and all that stuff.
So good.
I'm kind of addicted to. So
I'll never forget my grandma trying to sell me on seeing Billy Elliot in the theaters and being like, no, you can't bribe me enough.
Sorry. I know I'm a little too sore from my theater days. I don't know. Like there was a lot. Jake and I met in theater school in college at the University of Illinois. And, there was a lot of pent up aggression towards theater, especially amateur theater for him and me. So it was like, okay, dude, do your best and do your worst.
Don't worry. So. The black turtleneck sweater did not go unnoticed by me, good sir.
Good. Cause that's Jerry, man. He's all theater all the time.
So good. It's so perfect. Brian, did you have anything? I have one last question, so you can go if you got anything.
I was just going to ask about, I know you were saying, being in Wisconsin, dealing with the killer cold. What was the coldest it ever, it got out while you guys were working? I mean, I was in Wyoming working for Halliburton for a little bit. It was in the negative 20s, and it was fucking awful.
You're talking about polar vortexes too, right? That's what I read.
Yeah. So that was we had a pretty tight production schedule. It was only a couple of weeks to shoot the whole movie, and we planned it right. The reason why we planned it at this time was my son was born in August, so I was like, well, I can't go out there in August. Then Jake's little son was born in September.
Oh wow.
So we're like, well, we can't go there in September. So October. Great.
Holy shit.
We left our wives with these newborns.
Wow.
Okay? The worst husbands in the world. I mean, I can't believe that we did that.
I still see a wedding band on your finger.
Hey,
how can that be?
No, it's still there.
Kudos to the wives for,
Oh, man. No, and actually, Jake's wife, Jamie, played young Mavis, the young evil wife of Walter. So that's Jamie.
That's hilarious.
Who's also an actress who's amazing.
She did a killer job, too.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, my wife sang on the soundtrack, all that stuff. So either way, we go out there in October to do our thing, and we're going to start filming it was November 3rd. We're like, okay, we have 2 weeks or something crazy like that. And we I think we called all the locals. Like, when does it start snowing? Like, oh, it doesn't start snowing until probably about Thanksgiving. We're like, great. We'll be home by like the week before Thanksgiving. It'll be just perfect. It'll be great. So come, I want to say like October 10th or something like that. Here comes the polar vortex.
Jesus.
And it hits so hard. And I've never seen more snow in my entire life. And I went to school in Illinois, man. Like, I've seen some snow.
You know, cold.
But this was, oh man. In one night, it snowed. Oh God, it was something just insane. 5 feet.
Oh no,
something like that. Like the drifts, it was like literally nothing. So that there was that one scene where Ned unveils the naked wooden Paige,
which
right?
is
and then
divine.
You start seeing. Oh, that's good. Good. And which was actually carved by a local wood carver. It was wonderful. But you start seeing little snow flurries. Well, that was the night that the vortex hit. So we shot that. Derek's dad comes up to us and he goes, yeah, boys, there's going to be a lot of snow tomorrow. We're like, oh, okay. Yeah. He goes, no, like a lot of snow. Oh, okay. He goes, what I would recommend is you go to Home Depot and you get one of those big tarps. Like, we're like, what, like a 10-footer? Like, oh, no, they sell like a good 50-footer. We're like, oh, yeah, okay, sure, yeah. So we buy 2 tarps and we lay it out in front of the house. These massive, huge, we literally cover the entire front of the whole house so that we could peel it back to reveal the grass underneath for different stuff. So we put it out there. It dumps like the size of a small human, right? And we're like, oh my God, that's insane. So we basically shot the ending scene when they all come out in the virgin snow. Yeah. And we've had more comments like, it never snows that much in one night. We're like, no, it does. It totally does. And that scene we shot the very next day, but we had to put these signs up that said, no walking here, because basically, if you step on plastic, on snow on top of plastic, you go, and you are down in a second, right? And as we're hanging these signs, do not walk here, all of us are falling all over the place like a bunch of Muppets. So I think the coldest it got was one of our last nights of shooting. I burned my hands because I lost my gloves, burned my hands on C-stands and all that stuff.
Oh, no.
It was, I think it was -8.
Yeah.
And that was the scene that the guy playing Sheriff Wayne had to be in just his t-shirt.
Oh, geez.
So he had to run outside for the fight with Ned. So he's punching Ned and all that stuff. It was like -8, -9. And this poor guy is just, no, I got one more in me. I'm like, dude, get inside where it's warm, please. We broke the lens. We had this wide angle lens and we had this big long oneer that would start from the front of the house into the side of the house and through the house and then out of the house. From the differential of the temperature, it would go from -5 to 68 inside and then back out to -5, crack the lens.
That's crazy.
So we're like, well, that's a wrap.
Yeah, that's like
for tonight.
That's like face hurting cold. Like your nostrils freeze, like your little nose hairs freeze, and it's no point.
Oh yeah. We couldn't talk anymore. Like our lips froze, just that thing where you kind of talk, start talking like Bill Cosby.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like the Wisconsin natives are like in like fucking board shorts and like sandals.
They're like, oh, this is nothing. Oh, you should have seen it last year. Oh man, no, but it was super, super crazy. Crazy cold, but we got it done. And we got so nailed with the winter that we actually had to drive home with half a movie. And so we didn't have enough money to actually fly anybody. So we were driving from Wisconsin back to LA.
Holy fuck. And that's a long drive to think about how am I going to fill half of a movie?
Days. No, literally, we're literally driving and my brain is going, I'm like, oh no, I don't have that. No, I don't have that. Oh shoot, I didn't get that. Oh no. So I just had panic attack after panic attack. Oh. And finally we're like, okay, well, we have no money. We're going to have to shoot every single weekend. And until it's done. And that took about 6 months of weekend shooting. So but we got it done.
Hey, it worked out, man. It all worked out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So it was good.
And we are definitely not the types to blow smoke if we didn't enjoy it. So this leads me to my last question of the night. You have done cop comedy. You have done Western comedy. You have done horror comedy. What is your next genre you plan to attack? And don't waste your time pandering to our fans because we all love schlock and we'll find whatever it is.
Oh,
it doesn't have to be horror.
You know what? I hate to say this. This is going to go the exact opposite of what you would expect. I kind of want to make a Christmas movie.
Dude, I'm totally down.
Could it be a Christmas comedy?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
I kind of want to make but go so far to the opposite extreme. I want to make one of those like Hallmark Channel Christmas movies.
Okay.
Where it's like, she's a princess who finds Christmas holiday spirit within her soul. Or what, I mean,
He's a cynical postman who hates giving Christmas cards to Santa.
It's called Santa in the Mail. So, I mean, I think that would be a blast to do. Either that or like a British, like Guy Ritchie style, like, when everybody kind of talks like this, and like, right, so I'm gonna like mess you up, and then I'm gonna mess you up over there. One of those, Guy Ritchie things.
Why waste your time with 2 movies? Make it the same one movie.
That's so.
Jathan Statham is the postman.
Yes,
It's a very Statham Christmas.
where he's not.
I mean, essentially, he is like the Steven Seagal of now.
Oh, shit. Shots fired across the bow.
Man. Oh, man. No, that's such a good idea. Oh, my gosh. Jason Statham's Christmas, where he's like, he accidentally kills Santa with a ballpoint pen. And he's going to like, I've got to take the pack on my Christmas grave for all the little kiddies out there. Dude, I would watch the heck out of that.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. Oh, what a great idea.
We want a writing credit.
Oh, boys, if we do this, you're getting credits.
Or cameo.
Man.
Don't forget that.
Exactly.
We got to get killed in the most ridiculous way possible.
I call dibs on being Jason Statham's stunt cock.
Dude, yes, that's a good idea. I heard he doesn't need one, but you can jump in there.
Fun fact, my cock and balls have about the same amount of hair on them as Jason Statham's head.
So keeping it, so you're kind of keeping the marriage spicy. Kind of keeping it,
nice and trim.
That's a good way to end the interview. I like that.
That's good.
So Clayton, I know you're bad at it, but plug all you got to about. Oh shit! I didn't ask you about the title of the film. How did you reach the title of the film? It's kind of wordy,
originally it was just a line on the T-shirt.
Exactly.
So I think it was. I can't remember what the original line of him, what the original title of the movie was. Honestly, I mean, it was so many years ago, but it was as we were reading through the first draft of the script. Jerry holds up a T-shirt that reads, "I had a bloody good time at House Harker," and I went, "Guys, that's the title." And they were like, "No, dude, that would never." I'm like, no, think about it. Like that's like I Spit in Your Grave. It's like what, or it's like one of those titles that you're like Tucker and Dale versus Evil. It's like, okay, I kind of. What?
Well, it's wordy, but it makes sense. Like the pun is there, but it's also beyond the pun because it's it's kind of giving away what the movie is. It's not quite as artful as Birdemic, but I think it's there.
No, and totally. And we know that we are not the most talented at creating shock and awe horror. Like that's not our strong suit. So like I think our strong suit is the kind of zany, fun comedy side of it with a lot of blood.
Hell yeah.
So it's not like a full on horror film like that'll scare you. Like nobody's scared by this movie, but we want it to be one of those throwbacks to those 80s wonderful schlocky movies, or where you have a really fun time watching it.
Yeah,
so I think that was the title.
Again, we go back to Blood Diner. It's both Jake and I's probably favorite movie we've watched since we've seen it, and this is along the same lines. So
thank you. That's high praise, by the way. Because by the way, you guys, you have spoiled me because you've not spoiled me. You have ruined me because I cannot find a copy of Blood Diner, and I ever since listening to your podcast, I have literally been watching every single trailer, watching every single anything I can about Blood Diner, and I've never seen it, and I'm dying.
You'll get it, and then we're looking forward to your response to it. So.
Oh my gosh, yes. I cannot wait to revel in that beauty.
Spoiler alert, Brian and I have talked about making that the yearly tradition of this show. Instead of doing a year in review, doing a yearly Blood Diner review to show like how we appreciate it as years come by. So I'm inviting you here and now if you'd like to be the guest spot come January to do Blood Diner Part 2.
Boys, I will be there. I will drive to where you live and I will watch it with you. Like whatever we can do to make this happen.
Done deal.
We'll
I
hold
will
it to
absolutely
you,
be
sir.
there. Oh my gosh. No, that sounds amazing.
Awesome. So for everybody, I had a bloody good time at House Harker. It's available on Amazon Prime. And make sure that you are following them on Instagram. If you look in the description of this audio podcast, you will find the tags. You will find where to find it. You'll find Clayton's full name, social security number, and address. All the information will be there for you. So, Brian, is that time? Oh, well, first, Clayton, we have to let you say goodbye. Then we have to peddle our stupid catchphrases. So, by all means, sir, have at it.
Perfect. Oh, well, first of all, Jake, Brian, thank you guys very much. I love your podcast. You guys are doing the Lord's work when it comes to horror and everything. And I just want to say thank you to all the horror fans out there. And I hope you guys like our little movie. It needs as much love as it possibly can get. So thank you for this opportunity, both of you. I really appreciate
Happy
it.
to do it. Brian, it's your turn.
Yep. And over here at Slashers Pod, if you ain't watching them dying, you ain't really trying.
And for Brian, for Clayton, for Derek, for the characters in this fictional movie, and for myself, I'd like to remind you to go out there and do something you love. And remember that all work and no power play makes Jack a dull boy. Ta-da-da-da-da-da.